Hello everybody. We have a 23 move miniature game for you. So this is the road to 2100 on chess.com. We played against Augusto Lira, who was rated 1999, basically 2000, and we have the white pieces. So we go 1e4, developing our bishop, developing our queen, creating a pawn presence in the center. He decides to play e6, a move that doesn't make immediate contact. Looks like he's going to play the French defense. Fine. He lets us take the center. He lets us create a pawn duo. So we definitely create the pawn duo in the center, opening up our dark square bishop and controlling more squares. So he does play the French, and although there are various moves you can make, we decide to play the advanced variation so we can get this structure with the pawn on e5, which prevents black from having a knight on f6. He strikes our center with c5, the principled move to make sure we don't keep this strong construction. We play c3 because we definitely want to keep this strong construction to some extent. He develops a knight, which further pressures our strong construction. So we develop our knight, which is just the respective counter to his knight, defending the two squares. He now plays queen b6, a standard move. You're going to see this a lot in the advanced French, adding further pressure to the center and the dark squares. We play bishop d3. This is well-known theory. The pawn is not hanging because if he takes and you take, and he takes with the knight, you recapture. He takes with the queen. Bishop check wins the queen. So the pawn's not actually hanging, and we're developing the bishop to its most active square, getting ready to castle. He now develops the bishop, which may seem like what's the point? But now, if you were paying attention, that tactic we just said about winning the queen no longer works because this is not a check. This is not a check. So now he is threatening to win the pawn. So you have to notice that. So one of the strategies in the French is to spend all of your moves trying to defend this d4 point and pawn. We're not going to do that. If he threatens to take it, like he does here by developing the bishop, we're just going to remove the liability, our pawn, and take. It may seem weird to take outside the pawn center and ruin the chain. But what you have to understand, I think it's important that people don't mention, is that this is going to happen anyway. He's going to take you, or you're going to take him. And if it's not supported enough, like here, which it's not, if you take back with the pawn, you're just going to lose the pawn. You're not going to be maintaining that chain, so the chain's going to be disrupted no matter what. So we're initiating it that way. A, he doesn't win a pawn, and B, we still maintain at least the e5 stronghold, and C, we lure a piece onto the c5 square. Why does that matter? Well, that gives us free expansion on the queen side, takes away the square from his bishop. But first, he recaptures the bishop. You have to notice that. Why? What is the threat? He's threatening to take on f2 and win. So we castle before we do anything. This gets our king to safety and protects against the threat. It also sets a nice trap that your opponents will fall into at all different ratings. All the way from, if they're already at this theoretical position, they're, already somewhat rated, 1400 or who knows and higher. So from that rating on, they're going to fall into this trap because what's the most natural move here as black? I suppose I should cover the moves. I should have done that from the start probably. Okay. The most natural move is to develop your last piece to the only available square. But that's not the best move. The best move is to play a5. Why? To stop our main plan of playing b4. But if black doesn't know that, they're going to play a natural move like this guy. But what's the drawback of this move? It takes away that square from his bishop. So we immediately play b4, trapping the bishop. Nowhere to go. So I know he has to sack for a pawn. I pre-move this, although maybe he could have taken this one as well, I'm just noticing. So he takes with the knight. Because he has to give up a piece, he figures, I might as well keep the bishop. And we've seen this in, I've done this trap in, I think it was my speedrun games. We've definitely seen this before. So he takes, we take. So now he has 2 pawns for the knight. So I'm up a piece. Let's say this piece at home. He has 2 pawns for it, a passer here, connected passer, and 1 guy here. So sure, white's better, winning, whatever, but if I don't play accurately or I mess up, who knows? I could easily throw this game. Again, it's just 2 pawns for the knight. So it's my turn, and I just want to develop my last 2 pieces. If I can develop with a threat, that's what I choose. So what's the move? Bishop e3, developing to the center, stopping this potential pawn push, right? Because I have 2 attackers on that square, and kicking the queen around, so it's for free. He moves the queen here. What's the threat? He pressures this, but it's not hanging. Okay, I need to get my last piece in the game, my knight. This doesn't make sense. These both hang, so let's go here. Fine. Black's turn. He develops. What's the threat? My pawn is now hanging. So a lot of you guys will automatically, who knows, bishop f4, bishop e4. I don't know what you would choose, but I don't want to move my piece and defend if I have a different, more aggressive option. And I do. Develop my rook to the open file and pin the knight. Pawn's defended. So he voluntarily retreats the bishop because I guess he doesn't actually want to give it up for this knight. So he figures, what's it doing here? Let me solidify a little bit. And it makes some sense. There's probably lots of moves here. I didn't even check this with the engine because it said it was a 99% game, so I didn't even look at alternatives and stuff. But yeah, I just figured I need to develop this knight, right? I need to reroute it, and it belongs here. And this square normally is not usually the best, but here it's actually looking at 2 super important squares. We're over controlling c5 if we want to hop a piece in there. We're over controlling d4 if we want to hop a piece in there. And we're up a piece, but even positionally, strategically, we also look kind of winning in that regard as well, because we're controlling these 2 points. And if we can defend and control these 3 dark squares, we should be strategically winning, is what I'm guessing. So we're up a piece. So we just improve. He castles, and now I'm trying to figure out, do I want a piece on one of these squares, and if I do, which one? And I figure, well, if I move this knight, he's kind of defending this pawn, so I have to have some, real forcing thing to make it worth moving that guy. And I say, you know what, I noticed this thing, I can develop my last piece, non-rook, and it comes with this sneaky threat, and it helps control the c-file. So I settle on this move. I was going to jump my knight in one of these, or my bishop at c5. I couldn't really tell. I settled on this though because it came with this threat. He doesn't notice, so I take the pawn. He moves his king. I look at some moves, but I realize none of this works. And I just come back with my free pawn and his exposed king. Black decides to take the pawn in the center and expose this alignment. And he did it so confidently and quickly, I thought I messed up and just hung something because I put my queen here. And then I calculated and I'm like, sure, he has this intermezzo check, but, so like, for example, he just took a pawn. If I take a piece, he's going to take a piece and be hitting my queen. You definitely don't want that. I said, but what if I take his queen? Right? I get a queen. If he takes back, he gets a queen. But then I get a piece and I'm winning. So that doesn't make any sense. And if I get a queen and he intermezzos the check, so I got a queen, he gets a knight, I take back, I get a knight. He takes back, he gets a queen. But then I get the rook, and he can't take back. Like if he could take back my rook, that would be a different story. But he can't, so he just hangs stuff. So I take his queen. He throws in this trade of knights, which has no effect. And after he takes my queen, I just get a rook for that. So now I'm winning. Come like even more material. I'm up 6 points, and I have this. I don't even know what this is. Double attack, pin, right? And what's he gonna do? So he defends it. I just get my last piece in the game to the open file. He attacks my rook, and I was looking to see if I could move it. Doesn't have any good squares. And then I noticed my bishop was covering this square. So I'm like, wait a second. What if I take this? I get a bishop. He gets a rook. I get a rook. So not only would I win a rook from that transaction, but it would also be checkmate. And then if I take this guy, which I did in the game, and he takes my rook, well, then I have the other rook for back rank checkmate. So he just got kind of demolished. 23 moves. It was a theory thing, though. Yeah, he's definitely going to report me for this, probably, unfortunately, because 99 is really kind of crazy on chess.com. Whenever I see that, I'm also super suspicious. So that's funny because we don't have any inaccuracies. I mean, he only has one blunder. They gave us a 25-50. I mean, this is all theory. Like this, everyone knows, and then he blunders a piece. And then from here, it's kind of tricky to play. Oops. It's kind of tricky to play accurately. Like, okay, we win the piece, but now you have to play perfect. But it was just develop, 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 free stuff, force move, free stuff, and then he just hung everything right away. So we didn't really have to think or play quiet moves and find the best strategic this or that. We just brought out our pieces and he blundered everything. So that was just, kind of a free game, which I'm happy to see because you don't get them that often at the higher ratings. But this shows you how move by move we're looking at the threats, and you can see how the advanced French we handle it in this specific way. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Goodbye.